Thank you guys for joining us again for another live episode of the What Are We Doing series of podcasts. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, at least to us. Today we're going to talk about freedom, and specifically freedom of speech. Seems to be kind of a hot topic right now. People saying a lot of crazy stuff, and there's a fascinating thing about the freedom of speech that's really important to understand. You know, we got a lot of freedom in this country, probably arguably some of the most freedom of anywhere on earth.
Absolutely.
Right? And freedom is a form of power.
Yes.
Is there any other way to see it?
No.
And like anything, with any power comes responsibility.
That's right. And you can get it off of the human experience, electricity, gasoline. I mean, all these things can produce power, but you got to respect it. It comes with responsibility.
Hey, Mitch, it's good to see you. Easy with that word. Don't go accusing us of being gentlemen. But it's good to see you, Mitch. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you, Richard. Thanks for joining us. Oh, here we go. The AI cameraman going at it again. This day, he's trying to follow me, Chuck. So you're going to have to stay there.
We got to get close.
Hey, thank you guys on all social medias, wherever you find us. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you guys. We look forward to your feedback. That's him. Yeah. What we're talking about today is freedom, and specifically, we're talking about the freedom of speech. And more specifically, we as a people, as a society, we seem to have a misunderstanding about the concept that, yeah, we've got freedom of speech. But even with that, especially with that freedom, still, we are responsible for the consequences of what comes out of our mouths.
That's right. It's not an inconsequential thing to do, to say whatever you think.
Right.
Of course it's not. Matter of fact, the whole reason you're saying it is because you expect there to be a consequence. Let's not be naive about that.
So not that long ago, we had these guys, and I use the guys as a general term. There were male and female parties involved, and they made this video, this political video, and it was obvious, you know, they were liberals and they were anti the current administration. And they made this video encouraging the military to disregard orders if they wanted to. And you know, it made a big scandal and everything like that. And there was a lot of people that talked about it because one of the members of that video, one of the people that was portrayed, or one of the people that was involved in making that video, he was a retired military member.
Yep.
And people jumped to his defense and they said, no, he's got freedom of speech. Well, there's a fascinating truth about that. And if Cody, if you're still there, I definitely want your input on this. But when you join the military, part of your contract says that you actually give up part of that right to quote unquote free speech. You don't get to speak out publicly like that because you still, if you are retired or still active military, whatever it may be, you still carry the representation of the United States military. And what comes out of your mouth can be regarded as though it's the message and voice of the military.
That's right.
And as such, you don't get the right to just spout off crazy stuff with no consequences.
That's right. When you take the oath to serve, it's not just pledging all of you, your time, your energy, your body, your mind. You're also pledging your allegiance, but in a whole nother unique way. And that is a lifetime allegiance unless you are dishonorably discharged, or there will be consequences. And
so
yes,
Mitch says we're wrong about the retirement thing. So help me understand, Mitch. Explain that part, because I've never been in the military. My son's in the military, and he told me about it. And because I asked the question of him, you know, he's in the Navy, and he does some, you know, top secret stuff that he can't even tell me about. And I'm a little jealous, but he explained to me when he saw that video, he said that guy can't do that. According to what I signed in my contract, that guy can't do that, even though he's retired. So I'd love to, Mitch, if you could explain it to me. If I remember right, Mitch, you did serve our country, or at least you had family that did, and I appreciate that about you.
And just to reiterate the point, according to the headlines, Secretary Hickseth is looking into the behavior of this retired Navy captain who is now a U.S. senator, who has now participated in this cluster video with all of these other folks. And so why is he looking into this guy? Well, maybe there's something to it, but let us know if you know better.
And Mitch says, so my father said that once you're out of the service, you're out. And I think that's contingent upon if you retired and you're still receiving benefits and you're still connected in that way. I think there's something to that. You can't just willy-nilly say whatever you want. You still have connection. Let's see. Minnesota says they recited basic training. Not in the video. They actually, I don't know what basic training would tell you to encourage other members to disregard orders. I don't know what basic training would say that. And then Mitch says the benefits are provided by the people, not the federal government. I agree with that. But they're provided to you as a retired member of the military by the people.
Right.
And I agree with you completely.
Right. This isn't a donation program.
Right.
This is done through.
And Mitch says the military is to serve the population. It's not to protect the government. It's to protect the people. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. I agree with that entirely. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Like you're saying things that I completely align with. Let's see. So Dapper Dave's a big fan of ours. He says 2 closeted pastors. Now, I've never been a pastor. I guess I don't know. I don't know exactly what you mean, but
I don't know. But if you need salvation, call me.
And then Mitch says that the sad thing about this is that the government that we have now believes that the people serve the government. Yeah, see, and I am with you on that, Mitch. I really, like, one of the things that we've been on a lot lately, and I'm still on it, is that our government's out of control. It's bloated beyond what it ever should have been. It is unjustifiably large. Mm-hmm. They're taking in so much money that they got so much they don't even know what to do with it.
They can't keep up with it.
So they decided to just use it for their own benefit.
Right.
And they've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
And we gave them the power to do that by enabling them to build this horrible crime thing that they've got called the Internal Revenue Service.
Yes.
It's a Gestapo. That's all it is. Right.
Which went from its inception went from 1% of your income to 50% at least, if you add it all up from all of the sources that the IRS gleans your money. So, yes, we've allowed this.
So Minnesota says Trump is writing himself a $10 billion check. Can you? I mean, I'm not arguing. I don't know if he is or not. I haven't seen that. Can you prove it? I'd love to see that. Mm-hmm. The comments are going kind of fast. Thank you, guys. Dapper Dave says they stand by and watch all the injustice in the world and then condemn regular people as sinners. Who's doing that, Dapper Dave? Let's see. Tippy Talk 999 says go Trump. Mitch says it's called the National Steward. What's called the National Steward, Mitch? I guess I missed whatever it was.
What is that?
Minnesota, you don't have to use profanity. That's fine for you and your personal life. I don't judge you. But I'm asking you, you made an accusation. If you're going to make an accusation, I think it'd be only fair to ask you to provide evidence to support that accusation. But, bless your heart, Minnesota. You can use your thumbs to scroll on if you want. You don't have to keep on the show. It's okay if you do, but you don't have to. Let's see. Dapper Dave says they're never ready in and out of due season to give a word. Okay. Who's never ready? So anyway, back to where we were. The point is that it's irrespective of whether or not you're in the military or not. Mm-hmm. That's just a big responsibility that they carry that's extra above everybody else. But even for the common citizen, for us, normal common folks, we are not without consequences for our words. We've got these social medias, like right now, you guys are joining us on TikTok, and we really appreciate that. And YouTube, all these other Facebook, all these other, social media outlets, those are private businesses. Mm-hmm. Now they've gotten so big that, governments have gotten involved to protect the people and work to impart free speech into those platforms. Mm-hmm. But the truth is those are private businesses. So they have the ability, they have the right to to do whatever they want with their platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't like it because a lot of them don't lean the same way that we do or whatever. But the truth is, those are private companies. Just like you, if you had a cake shop, you have the right to refuse service or provide service to whoever you want to.
There you go.
But there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
So if you want to speak out and say something like we say on here, abolish the IRS. We say it all the time. Abolish the IRS, abolish federal income tax. So we want to say that. Now, the consequences that go with that are not everybody's going to agree with it.
Yeah.
Some people love the IRS. Some people love the benefits that they gain from stealing the American taxpayers' income.
There may even be people out there that enjoy paying taxes. I don't know, maybe. I mean, if you are, let us know. I mean, because we would be curious to meet you. But regardless, maybe you're out there.
So that's a great point. Mitch's magical manifestation. Love you, Mitch. Mitch says, what if the IRS heard what you said and decided to make your life miserable? Well, guess what, Mitch? I agree with that. That is a possibility. And the truth is, they're already doing it. I've got a letter sitting over there on my desk that I'm about to send certified mail to the Internal Revenue Service.
Right.
So I have no fear of them. The truth is that the entire government is intended to serve the people, and they're not doing it. They work as an intimidation organization to fearfully fleece the American people. Right. That's what they do. They're not working for us. They're stealing from us.
Right.
I'm tired of being afraid of them. Aren't you? Haven't you had enough? I'm not afraid of them. Right. I refuse to be afraid of them.
That's right.
Now, I mean, that could end up being that I end up with my hands cuffed behind my back and they put me in jail or whatever. I don't know. But I'm willing to stand up. I'm willing to stand the ground on that. I'm willing to go as far as it needs to be gone to take back that power of the freedom to earn and grow our wealth in this country.
Right. One of our favorite questions that we ask as counselors and coaches, when is enough? When is enough? I've had enough. I'm self-employed. The IRS and myself have a correspondence relationship. They send me letters all the time. They know who I am and they know what they want from me. And I've done my best as a citizen to give them what is, I guess, being required of me. But do I agree with it? Absolutely not. I don't have to agree with everything like that. And so how do we make a difference? Well, hopefully these conversations are contributing to that difference, because the not only the status quo, but the trajectory that we're on is only going to get worse. That's a fact.
So hold on. The comments are going really fast. Bram Craigo 6786 says, when is enough enough? Great question. That is a great question.
Yes.
For me, enough was enough a long time ago. It only became clear to me recently that it's actually my responsibility to take a stand.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility. But if no one else will do it, I will. Because if not me, then who?
Right.
If not you, then who? If we don't do this, at least one of us, who's going to start it?
Right. Because earlier somebody mentioned, I don't know who it is, I definitely don't want to call you out, that aren't we afraid that they are going to, and fill in the blank, ellipsis, whatever you want to say next. Yes, that's what they want. They want us to be afraid so that we will sit here and say nothing at all. I mean, whether anything changes in the immediate future, whether anything changes in our lifetime, I can guarantee you this, nothing's going to change if we don't start having overt conversation. And that's what we're doing right here in this platform.
That's actually a good point. Somebody just commented, Daniel said, slavery never went away. They just modernized it. Yeah, that's a fascinating thing you just said. We actually did an episode about that,
yes,
about the concept of modern slavery. Mm-hmm. Part of it is this. Mm-hmm. They have turned our society, our culture into mm-hmm. financial batteries, just like in the Matrix.
That's right.
That's all we are. We're never-ending batteries for right. the greed and power of our overbloated government.
That's right. Go back and look at our platforms. We actually brought in a guest, and he spoke openly about it, and he did not disagree. Yes, you are right in saying they just repurposed. They can't call it slavery anymore because that gets to be a little contentious with our feelings, understandably so. But it's still here.
So let's see. Mike says, gray shirt, blink twice if you're in danger. What am I in danger of? That's funny. Let's see. I saw a comment up here. Yeah, Daniel says, we live in the most sophisticated plantation on the planet, rebranded as freedom. Now, I will say this. Even with the oppressive financial situation that we have, we still enjoy the afforded freedoms better than any other place on earth.
Yes.
I still wouldn't trade this place for anywhere.
That's right.
I love this country. That's why I'm willing to stand up for it, because it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it to stand up and fix this place. It's worth it to go back to our origin and say, what was the intent of how we were created? And let's get back to that.
Right.
It's worth it. And if you agree with that, we've got something to work with. I don't believe that it's worth giving up on. That's for certain.
One of the friends of our show is Edgar Vasquez Silva, and he was brought here at 3 years old, and he will be the first person to tell you via his mother and the education he got in this country, there's no other country better. No.
Good morning, Classy, or Gina, whichever you'd like us to call you this morning. It's good to see you this morning. Stephen Brown, good to see you this morning. America First, we agree with that. Dollar and a Dream says we need mods. I don't know what that means, but I'm not sure. We're kind of new to the whole TikTok thing, and we've been doing lives on YouTube, Facebook, X, and a few places for a while. But we're learning, and we're always open to improvement.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dapper Dave says the funny thing is they're going to justify this by thinking they're persecuted. Who? And then let's see. Free speech. Free speech is only free if it's fun speech and has nothing to do with faith, politics, or gender. That's not true. You can say just about anything you like. The point of this show is to illustrate that you got the freedom to say it, but you don't have the freedom from the consequences if there are consequences to be had.
Right.
Like if you run your mouth, a long time ago, I say a long time ago, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but some years back, before we had Facebook, before we had all this social media stuff and a 24-hour instant news cycle and all that kind of fun stuff, we would see each other in person, and you knew that if you ran your mouth and you were reckless with your words, there were going to be physical consequences most of the time. And that's kind of part of what's kind of happened. I think that's part of the erosion of our society.
Right.
And I believe people don't think there are any consequences to anything anymore.
Right.
And I think that is that's part of the degrading of our thoughts. We don't really see that anything's going to happen.
My mind goes back to the playground days, and you only had like 30 minutes at recess, and what you didn't finish today, you had to finish tomorrow at recess, because usually none of us drove because we were just in elementary school. But got a lot of differences solved right out there in the public.
Right.
But what you learned in those days, you learned what to say and what not to say, and consequences worked. Boy, they sure taught me.
So I want to say this because we've had quite a few people join as we've been on here. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being a part of our audience. Even if you're in the opposition of our views, even if even if you just come on here to be an aggravator, thank you. We appreciate you. And let's see, we got somebody here. It's hard to keep up with the consequences. With the comments.
So while Rob is perusing a lot of y'all's comments, I did look up a little bit, and it seems as though that Secretary Hegseth has involved the Secretary of War.
He is the Secretary of War.
Well, there's I guess an undersecretary, and that person is looking to censor retired Captain Kelly as because of his active association with the military, and as Mitch was pointing out, his retired status. So apparently, if we are in some state of declaration, maybe a declaration of war, and perhaps we still are, we're operating under those guides. Then yes, there is to be. Basically respect for that. So anything other than that would be disrespect. But beyond that, it would be consequential. And that's why I think the military does have a censorship program. So you cannot say things in an active time like that.
So we've got one on here that there's no name. It's just a person with their, like a little blonde guy as their identity. And it says, "Where did your hairline go?" That's a good question. Mine's running away from me. I don't know.
Mine already left.
And then let's see. Bram Craigo 6786 says, "How do you have impact without violence?" I like that question because it's valuable to understand that we absolutely can have an impact without violence.
Yes.
And the way we do that is we band together with our voices and our votes, and we create a wave. We create a movement. Movements have been making impactful differences on this planet for a long time,
right?
Without violence.
That's right.
Now, in the end, if the movement doesn't get the desired result or some form of it, sometimes violence is necessary. But the movement needs to come first, not the violence first. If the violence comes before the movement, it's just going to create chaos, and then it's going to create even worse oppression.
After you appeal to reason, the next best appeal is to the potential for loss of a job, loss of business. So if someone is doing business in a way that I don't agree with, I don't shop there anymore. And sooner or later, the message gets heard. And trust me, you can look back, it's just the last, say, 5 to 10 years. And there have been a host of companies that decided that they were going to go woke on a lot of topics. And they started going broke.
Like
Budweiser, Target. And if you think of Target's great. Look at their numbers, do a little research. And it is impressive that the number of people who used to love shopping there said, if you're going to put our children at risk, we're out. And all of a sudden, things started changing in a lot of cases. And those are just two, probably the most popular. There are a lot of companies out there. So yes, there are nonviolent ways of making a difference.
So Classy or Gina says, "I should start my own investigation channel. I mean, where is Nancy?" Now, I'm curious. Maybe I'm missing something. What Nancy? Are you talking about Nancy Pelosi? Because I haven't seen her in a while.
I believe she's referencing Nancy Guthrie.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. So I missed it.
Nancy Guthrie is Savannah Guthrie's mother.
Yes.
Savannah is a known personality in the news media business.
Okay, got it.
And to my knowledge, she is still missing. I believe you guys could confirm that. And there's lots of things kind of coming out about that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for updating us. And so Queen Bee says, we were talking earlier about how people use their mouths and with no regard for the consequences. Queen Bee said it, and I'm paraphrasing, she said, just like in this chat. and fortunately for Chuck, he can't see the little words going across the screen as fast as they are, because some of them are pretty ugly. And some of them are at each other.
Ooh.
Let's see.
Just so y'all know, there are a few people on the planet who can hurt my feelings.
I leave those at home.
Exactly.
Leave those at home.
And there really aren't any, but there are people in my personal life I do give credibility to, and they don't hurt my feelings, but they help me be better.
Okay. Didn't Savannah pay the ransom for her mom? That's a good question.
I don't know what the latest is on that.
So again, we've got a lot of new names on the screen that I've not seen before. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. The topic of the day is freedom, and we've been specifically talking about the freedom of speech. And now I'm going to move into another area that is another illustration of this freedom of speech and the belief that there are no consequences. we're in the Winter Olympics right now, and my wife and I, we enjoy watching the Winter Olympics. We have a lot of fun with that. I am curious, before we get into this, what's your favorite Winter Olympic sport? Leave it in the chat. I'd love to see it. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. But I'm a nerd, though. I promise you, I am the biggest dork. I'm the biggest dork about it. So let's see. Anybody got a favorite Winter Olympic sport? Oh, come on, man. Ice skating. Okay. My wife loves that. She likes the freestyle. We got that American guy that's skating for us, the young guy.
Yeah.
They called him, I think they called him the Quad.
Yeah.
That's his nickname, because he can do the four. He can do the four. He can do a backflip. He does all this crazy stuff.
I'm telling you guys, if you pay close attention to that competition, some extremely talented people from all over the world. The Japanese team has been very impressive. So I agree. That's been a lot of fun to watch. But, America got the team gold, and looks like we're going to do fairly well in the individual competitions as well.
Y'all heard about Vaughn, right? Broke her leg.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. She is such an athlete. She's so committed. American.
Absolutely. But hey, credit to Breezy Johnson. I mean, she pulled the gold. And I mean, those people are skiing as fast as 80 miles an hour. I don't even drive that fast, I don't believe. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, I do.
I know, right?
So my favorite Winter Olympic sport is curling.
Nice.
I don't know what it is about that, but I sit there and watch that stuff, and they toss that rock down there. Of bowling and shuffleboard and all this stuff, and it just
even darts a little bit.
I just find it fascinating.
Have you ever done it?
No,
I have.
You've curled?
I have curled. I went to Salt Lake City for a conference after the Salt Lake City hosted the Olympics many years back. And they have an arena where they have a 3-lane ice skating where you can actually skate laps. And then right in the middle of it are these curling tracks. And I did so that's why they do the brush, because the ice melts and it beads. And if you do the brush, you can brush a little track. You can send that hunk of marble right where you want it. It's really fascinating. It's physics is all it is.
So my wife and I were watching that night before last, and one of the things that I had on my mind, and I'm an antagonist in my mind. I constantly come up with things to be, I guess, mean. But I'm watching them do the little thing, across the thing there, across the ice to direct the rock. And I thought to myself, how many of them fall while they're sweeping in front of that rock? And if they fall, does the rock hit them?
I don't know.
Anyway,
so if you're curious, if you'll notice, they have a something they put under one foot. That's their slide foot, and then they have something they put on the tip of the other foot, like a little rope, and that's how they push. So they're actually sliding on one foot, like a skateboarder. It's kind of like that. So, but do they fall? Probably.
So Classy, or Gina, asked a question. She says, "Let me ask you guys: did you watch the football game? And who is your halftime show?" So before I answer that, I'm going to ask you, Classy, have you got any videos of you racing around that ice rink? Because I didn't miss that comment you said earlier. You did say you were kidding. But I actually, I made some posts about this on my Facebook because I'm really disappointed in a lot of American sports, a lot of American athletes, a lot of American the organizations that run the sports. We pay them to be entertainers. That's what they are, and they lose sight of that. Just like what we're talking about on this show, they have freedom of speech, but they're not free from the consequences of that speech. And when an entertainer decides to stop entertaining and try to influence us politically, they lose my support. And I don't care if they have the same views as me. I don't want to watch them for their political views. I want to watch them for their entertainment value.
That's what I'm hiring them for. Entertain me.
I don't care about whatever it is. Now, if there's been a crime or something like that and they need help, great. Yeah. We need to know about that. And all that stuff's valuable. But I don't need to know about anything else.
Right.
Stop trying to, use your influence for political reasons.
Right. And that not only goes for athletes, that goes for people who make movies, as people who sing. do your job. And you can vote, you can do all those things. But once you pervert your platform for something that's political or some type of some social attention, you basically lost my attraction. And I don't care how good you are. And that's why I agree with Rob. I have stopped watching to a degree a lot of the leagues and the associations.
Thank you, Douglas. Douglas said, have a blessed day from Kansas City. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
Classy says, or Gina says, just joke around like me and you have no problems. All right, missed one. Hold on. Let's see. R. Farlow 123 says, I don't care about your attraction. Neither does anyone else. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. And see, Mitch says, I disagree with you. What do you disagree about, Mitch? I'd love to hear this. Always value your opinion.
So I did watch the game, and I'm going to tell you, up until the last quarter or so, I think Seattle's player of the year needs to be that field goal kicker. He scored 15 points with his foot and kept them way ahead of their opponent, the Patriots. So credit to that dude, man, and his holder and the whole special teams, because they kept them he put them in the game and kept them in the game until the offense caught up. So. And the defensive line of the Seattle Seahawks, wow, that is powerful men right there. They played some good football.
So Mitch says he believes, it already scrolled up, but Mitch says he believes that the athletes should be able to display their disagreement. And I mean, like you said, they can, but they have the consequences that go with it.
Watch me turn it off. So, which I have.
And when the NFL as a whole begins to push a political agenda, I have nothing to do with it. So to answer Classy or Gina's question earlier, I didn't watch any of the game. None of it. I did not watch a single second of that game or halftime show. I had zero interest. I don't feel like I missed anything valuable. Didn't even care. So there's your answer.
Slightly different. I do like watching good competition. I could care less about the entertainment. I actually left the room. And to be honest with you.
So Danny says that something about the Seahawks. Hold on, there, scrolled really fast. Danny says, I told everyone that Seahawks would win by 14 points or more. Who won? I still don't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did great. I mean, Sam Darnold did a great job. He's a class act and good competitor. But I'm going to tell you who the next guy is to the Seattle Seahawks fan, Kenneth Walker. That is a running back to behold. You keep watching that young man.
See, you're speaking, you lost me because I seriously stopped participating in the NFL some years back.
I know.
And it's very disappointing that the MLB did the same stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of
they've tried to come back some from it. The NBA still there, and their numbers are tanking, and they're lying if they tell you they don't. They are definitely tanking. Again, loss gets people's attention.
Bram Craigo 6786 says that running back was off the charts.
Right on.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you guys think Drake May was punished for refusing to wear the LGBTQ armband?
I don't know anything about that.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I quit paying any attention.
I don't know anything about that. He had a rough night. That's all I can tell you. And he's a good quarterback. He had a rough night. That other stuff, political, don't care.
And that's the thing. They push the agenda, and it becomes the focus over their athletics.
Right.
That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. That's not what they're paid for. These are not politicians. They don't serve the people.
Nope.
They are people profiting off of entertaining us. And that's what bothers me. When we make politics a part of our entertainment, we become influenced in everything. Like it's a manipulation. Football is not politics.
Someone once used the phrase, talking about any industry, said, don't pervert your product. Keep your product pure. You keep your product pure and it will be a purchasable product indefinitely. The minute you start perverting your product, people will stop buying it because they bought it for an original reason. And if you're going to try to transform the reason for them to buy it, they'll stop. And trust me, you know that. You probably have too.
So a huge example of that, and everybody on this show most likely is going to be very well aware of this. But when Budweiser chose Dylan Mulvaney to do their advertising, how long ago was that? 2 years?
Yeah.
3 years, something like that?
2 years, yeah.
They never, ever had seen a larger decline in their sales than that point. And what's fascinating about that is, in every business, if you want to advertise, you got to know your audience.
That's right.
And that right there is a prime example of free speech with consequences.
Yes.
I mean, and free capitalism with consequences.
That's right.
You can say and do a lot of things legally. You can do it, but financially, you're going to pay for it.
That's right. And they did.
And they still are. Bram Crego 6786 says, "I dig your platform. Keep her going." Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
So Rob and I have some friends that are in the craft beer business, and they do really, really well. They do so well they're not even open 7 days a week. They can limit their week. But
that's too funny to miss it. I'm so sorry.
No.
Crazy bus driver says the woke police just drove by. They can hear the sirens.
Yes. Yeah. Get them.
They're coming for us.
That's brilliant. Thank you. That is brilliant. That is good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Right on. Yeah, Gina said, or Classy says she heard that too. Yeah, and you'll have to forgive us. We are in a temporary location right now. We're in a small office that has thin walls. We're using it as a studio, and so when we have stuff like that, and we're not far from the medical area in the town where we are, so there's quite a bit of ambulance and emergency vehicle activity. Right. So it's kind of funny.
Yes, it is.
But it worked well.
Yeah. You are great. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I'll keep that one.
So, do any of you guys on the show today? Yeah, that's Texas for you. That ain't no joke. Would any of you like to join us and talk about anything that's happened in your life, or as a? Oh, you know what? I want to talk about this. We've had a lot of instances in the news lately with protests and protesters and run-ins with law enforcement, ICE and different things like that. And one of those in specific, or a couple of those, have led to people losing their lives, and that is horrible.
It is.
It's super, super sad.
It is. We don't want that.
I don't want anybody to lose their life.
No.
But I want to talk about something that's very important. And we talked about free speech, but we haven't talked about the right to keep and bear arms. The Second Amendment is a very important thing. It's something I'm very proud to have as an American, is the constitutional protection of that God-given right to keep and bear arms, to protect myself, my family, my possessions, my property. But that doesn't come without responsibility and consequences. I have to be a responsible gun owner, gun carrier.
Right.
I can't expect that I can just do whatever I want carrying a firearm.
Right.
So those things they have to be reasonable. We can't expect, I also served in law enforcement, and I had to use my weapon, unfortunately, very unfortunately.
Yes.
And I had to because one was used against me. Right. And those circumstances, you in that position, you don't understand unless you've been there. Yeah. And in that position, there's an instant choice that has to take place. It's the decision to see your family again or not. And it's horrible. And it's unfair to put anyone in that circumstance. Right. And when you put someone in that circumstance, there's going to be an outcome. And that outcome belongs to you, one way or the other.
And I feel highly certain that any law enforcement officer that has had to use their weapon in the line of duty shared those exact same sentiments. They want to go home. And when somebody is going to put them and their family at risk, even if it's on the scene, even if they're not showing up, to their family, they have to make that decision, and it has to be instant. And Rob's been in that position. A lot of his friends have been in that position. Many of those people to this day still carry that burden with them. They don't let it go. They have to put it in a place. And I've worked with a lot of officers as a counselor through the years to help them put that in a place, because they still want to go on and have the best possible life that they can, knowing what they had to do.
So Westside says there are some cops who are brutal. One was just convicted of murder last week in Illinois. And I agree with that. I agree with that entirely. I'm going to tell you this. I left law enforcement, not because I didn't like it. And I really enjoyed the work when I got to do the work. Mm-hmm. There are some people that are in law enforcement for the wrong reasons. There are some people in many professions for the wrong reasons. Look at politicians. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you unequivocally that there are quite a few officers serving in many different capacities that are doing it for the wrong reasons, and they don't belong there, and they make bad precedents for the rest of them.
Right.
They really do. But I will say this, the majority of law enforcement are not represented by those.
A very large majority.
The ones that are the bad, the ones that make it in the news for things like what you just illustrated, Westside, those are the fraction of a percent, the smallest fraction of a percent of the men and women serving this country daily in law enforcement.
Right.
Most of them are doing it with their heart. Most of them are doing it with the desire to make the right decision in the right moment for us.
And I believe Rob would concur that when those things happen, like what happened in Illinois, the good officers, the one that are truly want to serve their community, it helps them to galvanize and double down on doing that better, so that those situations not only don't come up, but that law enforcement officers are recognized as the people we can trust.
So we've got a couple of questions here. I'm gonna address them one at a time. Mm-hmm. We've got a statement from Gina. Thank you, Gina. Gina says, you don't kick vehicles that belong to law enforcement. That's a good point. You don't throw rocks at ICE. That's a good point too. And then we've got our Farlow123 that says, do you support ICE? Now that's an interesting question. I support the enforcement of our immigration laws unequivocally.
Right.
I do. Now, if that rubs you the wrong way, maybe you're here for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But I support those laws. I support the enforcement of those laws. And I support people coming to this country correctly. And we've had guests on our show that are immigrants, and they say the same thing.
Yes.
They want to be here. They want to be a part of this country. We've got people that are immigrants that are still, they don't have their naturalization yet.
Right.
That are in law enforcement right now. That love this country so much, they're willing to serve in law enforcement without a gun. Can you imagine that? Somebody that comes here from another country and loves it here so much, they're willing to commit their lives to this country and risk their lives for this country and stand in the line between order and chaos without a weapon. Can you imagine that?
Right.
Well, we just interviewed one last week. We'll be publishing that episode very soon, but wait till you hear his story. He's an amazing man.
Yep, very inspirational.
He's from Mississippi. He's a DACA recipient, and he's been on Fox News. It's an amazing story. And there are more like him. And that's the really crazy thing. You're only shown part of the story by the manipulation of the media.
Right.
When you start to learn the truth, you start to realize there's an entire world behind the wool that's been pulled over our eyes as a manipulation for what they want us to think and what they want us to vote for.
Right. One of the things that we learned from him is that that administration created a way for those children to stay here, but it didn't create a way for them to have citizenship. And that's what they want. They could stay here until they aged out. The problem is, by this point, they're in our education system. They're in colleges. They're in tech schools and what have you. They're going on with their careers and their lives, as we did too. But yet there is no path for them to get to citizenship. They created a problem they seemingly couldn't fix. And so
they just put a Band-Aid on it. So Mitch says, truth from Fox. No, we didn't get the truth from Fox. We got the truth from the source. We actually interviewed the guy himself.
Yes.
That interview will be airing soon.
That's right.
So
please take a look at it. It's an outstanding interview.
In fact, you're on TikTok right now. You can look him up. He goes by the handle of Deputy Dreamer. He does constant lives on his channel. He talks about his story. It was a wonderful interview. He's a very inspiring guy. And I'm going to tell you this. He's such a guy, such a man of honor, that he has the option that he could marry his fiance to gain citizenship. but he doesn't want to disgrace her that way and the love he has for her that way. He wants to attain citizenship legally on his own first,
right,
before they get married.
right.
I was so inspired by that. It was
Absolutely.
such an honorable thing for him to be that way.
How about that for character? He's a good man.
So y'all look him up on TikTok. He's got some amazing stuff. He does shows, I think, probably more than once a day.
Yes.
But he's a deputy over in Mississippi, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Deputy Dreamer.
Yeah, Deputy Dreamer. That's his handle on here. So
and I'm telling you, he had a positive attitude the entire time. Even though he's found some gates have been closed, he's not mad about it.
So Joe Griffin 717 said this administration has stopped all legal ways to become a citizen. That's actually false. I would love to see your evidence of that, because we have had people that we have had on the show that are becoming citizens now. In fact, I would love to see your evidence.
Yes.
So Joe Griffin 717, please provide that. I've seen the opposite.
Yes.
Let's see. Westside says, do you think January 6ers should be ICE? Thoughts on that? Well, I don't really know how to categorize everyone that was there. I don't know. I wasn't there, and I can't really speak intelligently to that.
Right.
I can't.
I don't understand how that's an immigration issue. Sorry, I don't understand.
R. Farlow 123 says, I agree with you there. He hasn't stopped legal citizenship, but it doesn't negate his vitriol. Is there more to that? So let's see. Skarsgård says, yes, I've worked with them on job sites while they are drunk out of their mind. Dangerous. Who are you talking about?
I don't know.
They think Antifa did J6. I don't really know. I mean, I honestly can't say, because there's so many conflicting stories out there. Let's see. You guys comment so fast. So when I agree with you on a certain point, you can't speak on it. No, I just don't. I'm not going to make presumptive statements or agree with you when I love to be agreed with. Don't get me wrong, but I still can't speak intelligently about that. So Johnny Blunt 468 says that comment doesn't fit all people. What comment?
I don't know, but we really do. We may fail at it, but we really do try to maintain show integrity. Talk about this show integrity that, we can't speak to things we don't fully know about. So if you have evidence of some of these things that you are wanting to broadcast through this comment section, bring the evidence.
So I got something I'm going to say here, because these comments, I think they're silly. So Kano 19, anytime I see this word mentioned in the media, in public, on social media, I'm always extraordinarily curious and fascinated by the motivation behind it. So I'm going to speak directly to you, Kano 19. It says, they have made it very hard to become citizens based on where you are from. Staunch racism. Now, I find this fascinating, because anytime somebody doesn't have evidence or validity to make their point, they like to throw around certain words. Now, Kano, I'm not saying that's necessarily what you're doing.
Right.
You might just be doing what other people do. It may be something a matter of comfort to you. I don't know.
Right.
But when you start throwing around the word racism, you better be able to back it up.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you this. I haven't seen racism except in a few spread out individuals.
Yeah.
But broadly speaking, racism's not as common as it's claimed to be.
Right.
And we've had guests, and I've got friends of all kinds, and I've got family of all kinds. It might shock you to know that my family is about as mixed as a family can be as far as race goes. And I would caution you, Kano 19, easy with the racism stuff, because it actually hurts your credibility to use that word. Unless you've got hard evidence to show actual racism, stop using it.
That's right. And I can tell you this, and we work in a lot of forums. We stand at the front of the room and speak and work and coach with a lot of folks in council. And I am so pleased that we have had a healthy variety of folks of different races. What we've noticed, though, is when they come to our trainings, they come with a similar culture, and that is a culture of hard work, goal setting, setting their visions, and engaging their missions to become better people, regardless of their genetics. So, if you're going to use racism, it's likely that's being exaggerated. Because I agree with Rob, we see the contrary. And we see it every week.
Scotty Mopati. That's a killer handle, man.
Hey, no matter what he says next, that's a cool handle.
Scotty Mopati asks, how is your family mixed? It's a great question. So I've got a daughter from Guatemala. I've got 2 kids that are mixed of multiple ethnic origins. We're very diverse. So does that answer your question, Scotty Mopati? Let's see.
And for my family, we got French, English, Swedish, can't you tell? There's some Native American, just on and on and on and on. So
Queen Bee says, you two run this show with such integrity. Thank you, Queen Bee.
Thank you.
She said, you show respect to your viewers, and it's refreshing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Our father 123 says, I have black friends, so I'm not racist. I didn't say that. I don't know where that came from, but bless your heart. Usually people who use things like that and use the word racist or racism so much, it's a projection.
It is.
It's coming from the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like hate. When people say hate, especially when it comes to a persons, if you will, so that has to be an origin for that. So here I am trying to be a little sarcastic. I go, so what do you hate about yourself? And I don't hate myself at all. It's got to come from somewhere.
I like that comment, Gina. She says, hey, the Lord painted me this color. It's not my fault.
Yes, exactly. There's nothing I can do about this.
Right.
White skin, hair thinning, it's just the way it is.
Actually, that's not true. So let's see. Shermie Rabbit says, it can be projection, but racism won't go away unless we talk about it. That's actually the opposite of the truth. The more attention you give it, the more you act like it's prevalent, the more you blow it up, swell it up, emphasize it, the more you enable it. The truth is, the less you talk about it, the less it will exist. That's the truth.
That's the law of nature. Whatever you focus on will grow.
Even Morgan Freeman put out a deal about, there was an interviewer asking him about racism and how, what he had experienced with it in life. And he said it so profoundly. I challenge you to look that up. Look up the Morgan Freeman interview where he talks about racism. It was beautiful what he said.
Right. Other notable people have put out things like that too. Denzel Washington, Thomas Sowell. These are all African-American men who have put out their perception of those things. I think you'd be very impressed.
Shermie Rabbit says, Morgan Freeman is wrong. Oh, well. Well, it's not really necessarily that you can say whatever you want. Like we've been talking about on the show, you got free speech. That's your right.
That's right.
You're just not free from the consequences of that speech.
You know who he's right for? Morgan Freeman's right for Morgan Freeman.
That's right. Howdy from Houston, Texas. Asian Silk Prince. Well, howdy, Asian Silk Prince. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
R. Farlow 123 keeps asking the question, do you support Trump? That's a hard thing to answer. I support some of the things the administration's doing. I really do. I support the economic freedom of the American man, the American person, the American civilization, the American society. I support growth for the American culture.
That's right.
I support free trade.
I support how he is leveling the economic playing field around the world.
I support promises kept.
Yeah.
Regardless. I even supported when, I'll say this, when some previous administrations got into office and did things that I didn't like, but they promised they would do it, so they did it. I supported that because that was integrity. And America needs that. Right. Even if I don't agree with the politics of it, we need people in office that keep their word.
Right.
And so that's a big thing. I know everybody's talking about the Epstein files. Still Smiling says he hasn't kept his promise about the Epstein files
Yet.
Nobody has done more about that than the current administration. And that's you can't argue that. That's no one has. It's been in the hands of Democrats. And now it's making its way out. I don't know what's all in there. It's disgusting from what I've seen.
Right.
I mean, it goes so far from child sex to cannibalism and weird ritualistic satanic stuff. Like it's bizarre, man. It's disgusting stuff.
To my knowledge, Autopen had a Justice Department also, and I don't remember anything coming out of that. So stand by.
No, I don't believe that. Westside says Trump administration says there was no trafficking. No, I don't believe that they're saying there was no trafficking. And I also don't believe there was no trafficking. I believe there was trafficking. Trump is mentioned in there over 30,000 times. Okay. A lot of people are mentioned in there, but we want to see who's guilty.
Yes.
And we want the guilty people prosecuted, whoever they are.
Who are the guilty actors.
And I'll continue to say that no matter who it is, whoever's guilty needs to be prosecuted, potentially executed.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way it is.
And we do know that human trafficking is a problem right here in America, and definitely all over the world, has been that way for really since the dawn of man. But that being said, definitely the children. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a statistic I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, guest of the show, but over 60,000 children have been liberated from some type of trafficking since Trump took this final administrative office. 60,000. And that's just what we know of. That's not counting the adults. That's just children. So somebody's proactive in that on that problem.
R. Farlow 123 says, you guys are contradicting yourselves. Are you saying we are, or the people in the chat? I'm a little confused. And then, are you okay? I'm not mad at you. Says, how are we going to prove the president guilty? Pedophile protectors with question mark. I'm guessing that's what PDF means.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. I wish I did. Who's protecting pedophiles? So R. Farlow 123 says, I'm a little confused. Yeah, you guys probably don't have the critical thinking skills.
Okay.
I'm not sure who he's talking to. He's talking to us for the chat. What about the children forced to marry men at polygamous communities? Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I think that's horrific.
Absolutely. Any abuse of children.
And I don't care what the excuse is. I don't believe there's any justification in forcing a child into marriage or sexual behavior in any way.
Right.
And when I say child, I mean anyone under the age. Well, I don't think it's okay to force anybody.
Right.
But especially children.
Exactly. Exactly. We don't have the time on today's show to get into the depths of the development of the human brain, but we are well into our 20s before we are fully formed. And so I'm not trying to put numbers on what is allowable, what's not allowable. Yes, I know the courts do that, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of still highly persuadable people who get way up into the high teens. So no, we should not be forcing anybody to do anything.
So let's see. Oh, we went so fast. Psychic Medici says, is it possible that the 1% is untouchable and that they will never get processed and never, and it cut off, I guess. So I don't believe anybody's untouchable.
Right.
And here's what I'll say to that. I believe that the world operates within universal laws. What you put out into the universe will come back to you one way or another.
Yes.
Regardless of the laws of our land, those laws are irrefutable, immutable, unbreakable.
Right.
They must be upheld.
Right.
And what you sow, you will reap. And whether you're in this country or another, you can't behave that way and not receive consequences.
That's a fact. If you want the good consequences, put the good things out there. Put out love. put out encouragement, put out hope, and you can look past any socially normed differences and see the value in other people. That's a fact. You can do that, and if you do more of that, I guarantee you the universe will bring it back to you. God intends it.
So, let's see. R. Farlow 123 says, what does the Bible say about inclusion and love, but you support fascists? There's the other word. So the racist, now we got fascist.
Fascist, yeah.
So that's fascinating. I don't support a fascist. I'm not a fascist. And the Bible is a fascinating thing for you to try and use as a weapon in that regard. I would love to hear your take on that.
I believe when we're told to love one another, to do unto others, I don't believe it specifies. I think it really just means others.
Let's see. You helped make Trump untouchable. You supported that. You made him above the law. No, I didn't make him above the law. Let's see. I would like to hear your take on it. Well, you brought it up. Let's see. The Bible actually says that we are to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, and that I can't judge you for the way you work yours out. I'm responsible for mine. I'm responsible for my witness. I'm responsible for the influence that I put out into the world, and that's what I live by.
Yeah.
So I'm not down on you for yours, and it's not your place to tell me how to do mine.
Right.
Yeah, the Bible does say a lot of things, and yet you support a fascist. Just keep saying the word. Maybe it'll get true. Let's see.
Well, you're having fun with that word.
Jalen 70 says the Democrats would have released the files long before Trump was president, and I actually think that's pretty fascinating. That concept. Jalen 70. That was the first thing I thought. When everybody was like, well, why won't Trump release the files? Why won't Trump release the files? And I was like, well, why didn't Biden release the files? Why didn't he? What was holding him back? And then this concept of, well, what if it implicates more powerful people from around the world who the Bidens were beholden to? And now we're learning about all these donations that were given to Hunter Biden and all this dirty money that was passed around. And well, what if that's why? I mean, there was a lot of influential people in those files. I mean, huge dignitaries from across the water, all this stuff going on. We don't know.
Right.
So, guys, the point of this show today was about freedom, and that freedom doesn't eliminate the consequences for us acting in those freedoms. We covered about freedom of speech, and we've actually been taking part in our freedom of speech on this show. And we really appreciate you guys being a part of our audience.
Yes.
We appreciate your contributions, your thoughts, everything, even your arguments. None of that's bothersome. I welcome it, and we appreciate you guys. We would love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line, send us a message, anything you want to request that we talk about. But we will be back here next Tuesday at 10 o'clock, same time, same place, same haircuts, same lack of hair or receding hairlines or whatever you want to call it. But we'll be here. We'll be respectful. We'll be here with the same behaviors.
There it is.
But we will bring you a new topic next week. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. Y'all have a great day, and we will talk soon.
Be blessed.